Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Aaron. Buy, sell, trade, collect, and grade. Everyone's double parking right now. Can't get through this traffic. Welcome back. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving and a great weekend. First things first, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe on my channel, this video, or the video down below, and also my good friend Joe Jake's channel as well. In a week, we will be giving away a Phantasmal Flames booster box. To one lucky winner, all you got to do is like, comment, subscribe, say anything. Compliment my hair, compliment Jake's style, whatever you want to say. Doesn't really matter to me. All's good at the end of the day. Yeah, that's all you got to do. So, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. My daughter was sick, and so we ended up doing nothing. We killed our plans, but as such, priorities change, and you kind of have to adapt and adjust. Anyway, let's talk about a few things today. Right now, I am on the way to a coffee shop. I haven't decided which one, but the joys and the benefit of working from home is I can work from anywhere. And today, I decided I did not want to be at home. I wanted to have a little less distractions at home and go somewhere that I can get into some deep work. So I'm driving around. I'll show you guys the neighborhood I'm going to be in a second. I'll find a nice coffee shop. I'll hole up there for a few hours. I'll go home, get a workout in. I'll get some work done. So anyway, let's talk about a few things. I should probably share this this one thing. Yeah, let me just jump into this random topic. I decided, I think it was on Friday, after a couple of drinks, trying to let loose, sold a bunch of things this past week, in the last 2 weeks. I decided I wanted to give there's a product out there called Courtyard. I've talked about it before, Invisible Hand, blah, 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 blah. It's like one of the many digital mystery pack products. It's just like, what is it called? Like GameStop Power Packs, right? They're all basically the same thing, right? They all literally do the same thing. I think on Courtyard, though, they have a little bit better percentages for you to get higher than what you paid for. Now, all in all, it was, I think the odds for me on that day, because they do change it, I believe, by day, was a 73% chance for me to at best make my money back, a 27% chance for me to make at least my money back, so more than what I spent. And then like the percentages in between there are like you have like a 0.1% chance to go like 10x or whatever, whatever it is. I did the 1K pull, and I pulled a Gyarados base PSA 10. Sorry, base set Gyarados PSA 10, which market value is about 16 to 1700, but it was actually rapidly dropping, and the last solds were like 1300. I got a buyback offer of like 1550 or something like that, and then after the net fees, and this is where, man, these services like GameStop and Courtyard, they're making a killing, right? Because not only do they charge you, um, not only do they charge you or give you 90% of fair market, or maybe worse, they also charge you a 6% service fee. So effectively, they're paying you 85%, 80 to 85%, because they're always taking their service fee on top, which kind of sucks, but like that's just kind of the name of the game, right? Like that's how they make money. They charge on every transaction. Anyway, I held on to it and decided to sell it back. So I made a nice, 40% of my money. Definitely gambling. Definitely don't recommend it. Not something I would normally do, but I was feeling a little risky, really risque, and I wanted to give it a shot. Anyway, I guess that was the W. That was the win I had over the weekend, but not something that I would. This is literally gambling. It's a bad habit. So, yeah, I don't recommend it. I was actually watching a post on GameStop today on Instagram, and there was some streamer who like did the 2,500. They released a $2,500 pull, and he got like $1,800 back. So he immediately lost $700. And I was shocked in that, like, they posted a loss. I mean, you know, it is the honest thing to do, but it seems kind of weird that you would post a loss if you're trying to promote like this gambling behavior. Anyway, um, today's video, I want to talk about the endless supply of FOMO that exists in the market. Now, if you thought that the burger shoe had a high pop of like 120,000 in PSA, FOMO is like an unlimited pop. It always exists. And what I'm referring to is like, right now, the market is down, air quotes. Things are retracing, air quotes. And now it's like a great opportunity to buy. And if you don't buy, then you're going to miss out and you're going to be kicking yourself in the next year or two, or however many years. I mean, there's parts of this that's like, it's the problem I have with a lot of this commentary is all of this is relative, right? It's relative to every individual person out there. And like, just because the market is down doesn't mean you should buy. I think that's probably the point I want to convey. And you know, there's so much FOMO going into the last year. You got to buy, everything's going up. You buy something automatically, you can flip it, you can make 10, 20, 30% of your money back. Like, you should be buying at all times. If you don't, you're missing out, you're missing out. Now the narrative is like, well, the market's down, you got to buy, because if you don't buy, you're going to be kicking yourself in the next year, 2, 3 years when the market goes back up. So you can see that like the narrative doesn't really change. And it's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you, for an observer to see the narrative from when everything was going well that you have to buy, because if you don't buy, you're missing out on for like free gains, right? Free money, free tendies, whatever you want to call it. And then now the narrative is, well, if you don't buy, you're also missing out, because in 6 months, a year, 2 years time, when everything corrects, you're going to be kicking yourself because you didn't get things for cheap. And like, I just want to call out, I'm not immune to FOMO. I get FOMO all the time. I got FOMO into a freaking power pack thing. FOMO never ends. It doesn't have a limit. It's not immune, right? It's not immune to the market. It's not immune to anything. It's always occurring, and it occurs based on who you watch. It occurs based on what you want to buy. It occurs at like all points. It's always occurred, no matter how healthy or how chaotic the collectibles or Pokemon market is. There is always, always, always something that you can look at and say, that's a good buy. And I think this is where, like, if you don't have a business model, or if you don't have like a store, or if you don't have a way of selling through things, and you hear that advice from people, what you forget is that like some of the people out there who are really successful, they're always going to have opportunity, always, no matter the condition, right? And I shout out to my homie Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, because he just made a video about buying a ton of packs of prismatic and other sets. Let me see. I want to make sure. I am right now in a neighborhood called the Marina. And the Marina in San Francisco is called such because if you go straight ahead, where I'm pointing, that is where the bay is. And it connects to North Beach, which is northeast San Francisco, which I might be able to get there in a second. Anyway, so go back to what Dan's video he posted the other day, or yesterday. It doesn't matter what's going on in the market. Prismatic packs, for example. I think he said he bought them at like $7. He's always going to be able to sell them at a margin, no matter what the current state of the market is. He'll get his fix. He'll get his piece. He'll get his profit margin. And that's really important to highlight, because someone like Dan, who has an established business, who does, probably 5 million plus at least a year, he's always in a position to make money, right? And if he buys it cheap now, whatever the packs are, and the market goes up, he'll make even more margin. If he buys it cheap now and the market goes down, the likelihood that's going to go to zero is like close to zero, right? And so with that said, like, he and a lot of people are in a position where it doesn't really matter what happens. They're always going to be able to make money. They're always going to be able to get their fix. Okay, I just got into like the craziest neighborhood up here, and I do not know what's going on. Look at this parking situation. This is a neighborhood. This is how people park. So, I call it Dan. Not really calling him out, just highlighting Dan, because he's in a position that if you hear advice from people who are constantly buying, or a lot of these content channels who are saying like now's the opportunity to buy, you have to ask, how are they able to do so? And how are they able to afford from getting, sorry, this is another, look at this crazy, dude, look at this crazy stop sign. How are they able to afford buying now and then selling it? And when do they decide to sell? And these are all the things that I'm constantly thinking about, right? Like, I've been selling a lot of different things lately. All my Sun and Moon ETBs that I've mentioned in the like last week or 2 weeks ago video, now on the way to be sold. Scarlet and Violet boxes, a lot of them have been sold or are on the way to be sold. And so I'm in a position now where I'm accumulating as much cash as I can. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm like totally lost in this neighborhood. And I see how soft things are getting. And it's intriguing. It's very intriguing to me and exciting. But I have to remind myself, I'm not playing for this retrace or for this market this time to go down. I'm not playing for this next quarter. I'm not playing for, the next time Sword and Shield retraces 10%. That's not what I'm accumulating money because I want to feel really good about the money I spent. And it means selling a lot of the inventory, collection, whatever you want to call it. It means, here's the marina. Oh, hoy hoy. Beautiful. I'm not playing just because the market has retraced a little bit. I'm trying to take as long of a view as possible while also trying to not spend money on a day-to-day basis. And I think, if you just got into this, right? And this is your first downturn, retrace, whatever you want to call it, then it might feel like now's the time you have to jump in, because if you don't, you're going to miss out, because that's what everyone's been telling you. This is what you've been waiting for. Like, you got to jump in ASAP. And if you don't, like, you're not going to get this opportunity again. I'm here to tell you that, like, this feeling, this market is just a cycle. What's going on now will happen again. Will it be better? Will it be worse? Will it be a mixture of both? I have no idea. Nobody has any idea, right? But it's important to call out that, like, these things are not unique. What's happening now is not unique. It will happen again. And maybe next time around, Sword and Shield, the boxes will go cheaper. Maybe this is just the first step in multiple different retraces that's going to happen over the next year or two. Maybe it's going to happen again for going to the 30th, maybe after the 30th. We don't know, right? But the point is, at the end of the day, I think the truth of it all is that you shouldn't spend more than you're able to. And it is a real skill to demonstrate abstinence. God, that's not the word. Not participating. To not spend money and be okay just saying, you know what? Let me just see what happens over the next. You guys see this hill right here, by the way? That hill straight ahead. My wife and I, on the weekends, will walk back and forth from different neighborhoods, and we've gone up that hill like 2 or 3 times at this point. No joke. With a stroller. That is the pain that I seek out for myself on the weekends with the family. Um, all this just to say, there's no rush. There's no rush. There's never been a rush. It's okay to just say, you know what? Let me see what happens with this next retrace. And I made this video because I've been watching a lot of this content lately on how people are saying like, now's the time, now's the time, now's the time. Like you gotta buy. You're gonna be upset if you don't buy, and if you, because now's the time. You never know what's gonna happen again. It's like, guys and girls, this is like the same thing over and over again with like every up and every down of the market, and every single time that market price goes up, market goes down. Like people get so. Look at this guy. He's like blocking the bus. Okay. I actually might not show that. That wasn't that interesting. It's the same. It's the same message, and it elicits the same behavior in people, where you constantly feel like, oh my god, I gotta sell stuff now so I have money to spend, and I gotta have that money to spend so I can buy because, brilliant start. It's just like, it is not a unique feeling. It's the same thing over and over again, and you really have to ask yourself, can I afford to buy these sets? Can I? What's the worst that can happen if I do nothing? If I just wait? What's the worst that can happen if I just continue to sell and just be ready for another day? Right? And these aren't just dialogues and things that I bring up because like I'm preaching something I don't think about. I think about this stuff all the time. It is very difficult for me to not spend money. Scout's honor, I will admit, on my honor, I will do my best to something in my country, whatever the Boy Scouts say. Like, it is incredibly difficult for me to not go onto eBay and buy and Instagram and say like, oh, that's a good buy. That's not a good buy. That's a good buy. Like I still do it to this day, even when I'm not buying, right? It's like the new age. It's an addiction in a lot of different ways. Teaching yourself not to spend and being okay and missing out is really, really, really hard. And I think it's going to be fine. We have this massive set coming, Ascended Heroes, which I will tell you, let me admit, Phantasmal Flames, not a good set. Just a chase card. I kind of like Sharpedo, but just the chase card, right? And the gold card. That's it. Small set, but at the same time, you probably could have seen it coming because small set basically means less cards to pull, which means if they don't change print run, then you're going to see more of the chase cards in the market, and that's exactly what happened. So be it. It doesn't take anything away from the quality of the cards, but the set in general, the composition is kind of weak, right? Mega Ascended. Mega Dream is phenomenal. I am sad if you are not a Japanese fan, if you've never opened up a Japanese booster box. But I can tell you that Japanese texture, Japanese hits, especially from the latest sets, look phenomenal. And that opening experience from the videos I've watched, I've not opened it yet. I've decided to not buy it because it's going to be printed into the ground like Terrasta was. Opening experience looks amazing. That opening experience is going to absolutely crush what Ascended Heroes is going to be. Ascended Heroes, very likely, I'd put money on it, is going to be like Prismatic, if I had to guess. The likelihood that it is not like Prismatic is actually quite low. And so, that said, what you can expect is really, really, really bad pull rates and getting wrecked through and through and having to pull or having to rip a lot of product to pull few chases. It's not going to be a good experience. So you're kind of set up to the writing's on the wall for you to kind of slow down. You know what I mean? And if this is just like Prismatic all over again, it's going to sell well. All right, buddy. You ran a stop sign. It's going to sell well, and people are going to love it, and people are also going to overpay for it, and people are also going to spend way too much money on it and then be left with very little EV in the things that they pull and things that they open. And look at this shot at the Golden Gate Bridge. Look at that shot. Very nice. Look at this house right here. You know, one of my favorite pastimes as a kid, my most fond memories of hanging out with my dad. You know, I was a kid, didn't always like hanging out with parents and stuff like that. One of the things I loved doing, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up, is after we go to like the pool, right, and go home 7:30 at night in the summer, sun was coming down, sunset, we would go to like these nicer neighborhoods and just look at houses. It's like one of my most favorite memories growing up is like looking at houses that, and we would talk about like, oh yeah, one day we're gonna be able to afford and we're gonna be able to buy and move into, and you know, obviously that never really happened, but memories, man, as a kid. So all this is to say, if you really like pulling, if you really like Pokemon, if you don't really care and you like to spend money, then who cares? Spend the money, whatever. You're cool with it. You're gonna be just fine. But I don't think a lot of this is gonna change for a bit. I do have a prediction though that Phantasmal. Let me show you Alcatraz. That's where all the retail scalpers are going to end up one day. I'm just kidding. I think they're going to catch up after Ascended and whatever the set's going to come after that. That's my guess. But with that guess, with that in mind, it gives me motivation and belief that waiting is going to be a fine deal. Now I'm gonna buy singles. I'm gonna grade them, but for single products, I don't know. Probably not for me. Not right now. All right, guys. 22 minutes on how I ranted and rambled how FOMO sucks and it's never gonna go away. But it's just a hobby. So I want to know and hear from you. This is actually not this question is actually not unanimous from what I've seen. Are you excited for Mega Dream, or I guess Ascended Heroes? I've heard mixed, right? I've heard some people super excited for it. I've heard some people not excited at all. It's kind of interesting to see, actually. What are you excited for? What do you think about the chases? And more importantly, what are you buying right now? Are you holding off? Are you holding steady? Are you being disciplined, or are you still going headfirst all in? All right. That is today's video, guys. That's all I got for you. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Tune in next Tuesday. Sorry, I'm taking a right turn. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, with myself and Jodo Jake, Real Collectors, Fake Investors. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on my video, my channel, and Jake's video, or Jake's channel. And I'll pull the winner in 1 week. That is all I got for you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.